This is lesson 3.4 for algebra. Lesson 3.4 is titled Ratio and Proportion. So you need to make sure you have these key words in your notes. A ratio is a comparison of two numbers by division, key word. A rate represents quantities measured in different units. And then a unit rate is a rate with a denominator of 1. So, Main Street Florist sells 2 dozen roses for $24.60. Flowers for You Florist sells 6 roses for $7.50. Find the unit rate for each. Which florist has the lower cost per rose? So try this problem. Okay, so I'm going to set up my ratio. So I have 24.60 divided by 24. So each rose there, 24.60 divided by 24, is $1.03 if I round. That is the first one. The second one is $7.50 for 6 roses. $7.50 divided by 6 is $1.25. Which florist has the lowest cost per rose would be the first one, Main Street Florist. All right, a real world connection. In 2004, Lance Armstrong won the Tour de France, completing the 3,391 kilometer course in about 83.6 hours. Find Lance's unit rate, which is his average speed. Write a rule to describe the distance he cycles d as a function to the time he cycles t. Cycling at his average speed, about how long would it take Lance to cycle 185 kilometers? So first they did what he went divided by how long it took him, and then they figured out, okay, that's 40.6 kilometers per hour. And then they used d equals rt, and they filled in 185 for distance. And they said, okay, if you want to go that far, it's probably going to take you about 4.5 hours. That's a real good thing to know, because if you're going to go do these long training sessions, you want to know how long you're going to be gone. So, suppose you walk 2 miles in 35 minutes. A, find the average walking speed. Write a rule to describe the distance d you walk as a function to the time you walk. And use the function to find how far you would walk in an hour. Try this problem and then we'll correct. Alright, so for A, I'm going to find my average walking speed. So 2 miles divided by 35 minutes. So then I do 2 divided by 35 and I get 0.057 miles per minute. Write a rule to describe the distance you walk as a function to the time. Distance equals rate times time. That is just a given. Everybody should know that formula by now. And then for B, use the function to find how far you would walk in an hour. So this is my rate. This is how long or how fast I'm going. So my distance would equal my rate, 0.057, times my time, which is 1 hour, but this is in minutes, miles per minute, so then I want to times it by 60 minutes. And my distance would equal 3.42 miles. Which, if you look at it, it makes sense because they went 2 miles in 35 minutes, so then in an hour, they're going to go about 3.5 miles. So that makes sense. All right, when converting from one unit to another, as in hours to minutes or minutes to hours, you must decide which conversion factor will produce the appropriate unit, just like we did back here. How I went, well, I can't put in 1 hour because this is in minutes. So this is called unit analysis or dimensional analysis, is when you convert from one unit to another. We're going to do this again, if you remember. it says a cheetah ran 300 feet in 2.92 seconds. What was the cheetah's average speed in miles per hour? So they did 300 feet over 2.92 seconds, and then they converted it to miles per hour, and they got 70 miles per hour. So try this. A sloth travels 0.15 miles per hour. Convert this speed to feet per minute. So try that problem and then we'll correct it. Okay, so I have 0.15 miles, MI, per 1 hour. So then, I don't want an equal sign, I want to multiply. And then I'm going to put 1 hour on top equals 60 minutes. So now my hours cancel out and I have minutes. And then I'm going to put miles on the bottom because miles is on the top in the beginning fraction. And I'm going to do 5,280 feet on the top. So now I'm left with feet per minute. And then I have to multiply straight across. So I'm going to do 0.15 times 5,280 and then divided by 60. And you get 13.2 feet per minute. All right. Lastly, we have proportions. You read this proportion as A is to B, as C is to D. For this proportion, A and D are the extremes and B and C are the means. They call it the means extremes. Okay. How we solve this is, last year we talked about cross products. Cross products are when you cross multiply to do that. Now this year we're going to try a different method. So instead of cross multiplying, what I'm going to do is rewrite my proportion, and then I'm going to multiply both sides by each denominator. So multiply by 4 and multiply by 12. And I have to do whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. So then if you look at this equation, what I'm doing is essentially I'm multiplying both sides by both denominators to clear the fraction. I want to get rid of the fraction. I want to clear the fraction. So now these 4's cancel out and I have 12x. And these 12's cancel out and I have 100. So then I divide both sides by 12 and I see that 100 divided by 12 is 21.53. So let's try the next one. 24 over 5 equals y over 7. So I'm going to multiply by 5 and 7 on both sides. So these 5's cancel out and these 7's cancel out. I'm left with 7 times 24, which is 168, times 5 times y, or equals 5 times y. I divide by 5, and I get an answer of 33.6. So try this last one. Okay, so I'm going to do 54 over D equals 72 over 64. So I'm going to times by D and times by 64. And times by D and times by 64. So 64's cancel out and the D's cancel out. And then I get 54 times 64, which is 3,456, equals 72D. And then I divide by 72. And so I get 48 equals D. Okay, so now they're going to add another step to it, and it just has x plus 2 in the numerator or y plus 4 in the denominator. So when I do this, I'm going to do the exact same thing. X plus 2 over 14 equals x over 10. I'm going to multiply this by 10 and by 14. Multiply this by 10 and 14. I cancel 14 out, I cancel 10 out. Now, here's the important part. When I multiply 10 by x plus 2, I have to do the distributive property. So I have to do 10x plus 20 equals 14x. I have to distribute it to both of the variable and the number. So then I solve my equation. Whoops. I'm going to minus 10x from both sides. So then I get 20 equals 4x. Divide by 4, so x equals 5. Okay, the next one, I have y minus 15 over y plus 4 equals 35 over 7. So I'm going to multiply by 7 and y plus 4, by 7 and y plus 4. Y plus 4's cancel out and the 7's cancel out. And then I have 7y minus 7 times 15, which is 105, equals 35y plus 35 times 4 is 140. I draw my line. I'm going to minus 7y from both sides. So that equals 28y. And I'm going to minus 140 from both sides. So that equals negative 245. And then I divide by 28. So 245 negative divided by 28. And y equals negative 8.75. So try the next one, and then we will correct it. Okay, so I have 3 over w plus 6 equals 5 over w minus 4. So I'm going to multiply both sides by both denominators. Okay, the w minus 4's cancel out and the w plus 6's cancel out. So then I get 3w minus 12 equals 5w, that's plus 30. That's a plus right there. So then I'm going to minus 3w. So then I get negative 12 equals 2w plus 30. And then I minus 30. So I get negative 42 equals 2w, and then I divide by 2. So w equals negative 21. All right, that's it for your notes.